Hi, welcome. In this screencast, we'll demonstrate how to implement continuous integration with an existing Terraform module. Continuous integration, or better known as CI, enables us to scale and reduce maintenance efforts of our Terraform code. Let's dive in. On the screen, we have a single Terraform module that builds a Google Compute instance. We also have Kitchen-Terraform to run the inspect test suite. To run the Terraform code and test suite, there is one command to run: bundle exec kitchen test. This command will run the Terraform code on the Google provider. Then it will run inspect tests against the infrastructure we built and destroy it all at the end, giving us an end result. The other CI item we should implement is Terraform format, or FMT. This will rewrite all Terraform code to a canonical format. In other words, it implements a couple of Terraform standard code styles for us. If it were to fail during the CI run, then we know there are a couple updates to make on our PR. And then we need a way to version the module. We'll do that with a text file called version. We'll add the text v0.1.0, which will have our module follow semantic versioning, and the first version of that would be 0.1.0. Let's activate the repository on our CI system. In this case, we're going to use Travis CI. It's free to use with open source repositories, and we've been using it for Kitchen-Terraform too. Let me activate it here. And you'll notice that I also have previous builds as I was trying to test this setup. Now that we've activated our repository, let's go into settings to make sure everything else is set up as we need it. So we've turned on running builds with the Travis CI, or travis.yaml. So we'll need to add that to our repository in a moment. And we do want builds to happen on branches and PRs. And I will limit it to one concurrent job for now. Below, we have some environmental variables that are sensitive, but in a bit, we'll work through that too. Now that our repository is on Travis CI is all set up, let's go back to our editor and add our travis.yaml file. This file holds the details needed to run our tests. Since Kitchen-Terraform requires Ruby, we'll set up the caching and language for Ruby. And there's also other directories we'll need to be caching. This is just to help keep the job more efficient when we have to run it multiple times. We don't have to download binaries or download other tool sets every single time the job runs. So the next section is the job section. The job section is where we have stages, and we'll have multiple stages for our jobs. Let's lay some of them out. The first one, since we're worried about caching, we'll just create the name of prepare cache. Then we'll also need to check for style, just like I showed earlier with Terraform format. And if that passes, then we can go into the bulk of our test, which is going to be the integration test. And the last stage is where we need to tag the version if we end up merging or running a job on our master branch. So I'm going to go through and actually create more of the job, which includes creating the actual scripts that are needed. And then we have the different stages we need. So in the above part, where we have job stages and then the names, that's just to tell it to run in that particular order. Now the include block is saying, here are the stages that we're including within this travis.yaml file for Travis to run. So for a style check, I just need to have that vendor bin is where we'll put Terraform eventually. And then we have our integration test. And then the last one, as we talked about, is the tags repo. So here, Travis CI item is skip. We don't need to actually run a script because we'll be doing a deploy instead. So for get tags, I need to make sure there is a user name. So I'll just put my username from GitHub. And then there's also a user email so that our commits come back successfully. And then here, what we're doing is we're going to cat out the version file and use that for the get tag. So each time we do a merge, that version file also has to do an update to make sure that we are correctly tagging the latest version. And lastly, we have a deploy block, and there's a provider in Travis called releases, which is GitHub releases. And then there is a what files do you want to upload to releases? I'm going to say all of them. And then we're going to make sure that this only runs on the proper repo. And on the branch of master. Our Travis.yaml file is complete. However, we still need to add a couple additional items to use sensitive values such as the Google provider credentials and any other items that will help with our build job that the public should not see. So first we need to install the Travis gem. This is a command line utility which helps set up the files that support the build. Now that the gem's installed, we need to log into Travis. --org is for travisci.org versus the .com commercial version. And then GitHub token, which I've created a GitHub auth token shell variable off screen to hide the sensitive value. And then I will be able to generate that and log in. All right, I'm successfully logged in. Now that the Travis command line has been set up, we need to provide travis.yaml with a GitHub personal access token. To do that, we need to run Travis CI command, which encrypts it. And then I will do a -a, which will put the actual encrypted value into the YAML file. So let's see if it's automatically added. Okay, it's been added. However, it's a bit messy as I need to move it under the deploy key within the last stage of the tag instead. So if you're wondering, the jobs within Travis with stages is still in a beta feature for Travis CI. Okay, now that's good. Last, we need to make our .env and credentials.json files available to our builds. Since Travis cannot encrypt multiple files, we'll need to add these files to a compressed tar file first, and then we'll be able to encrypt it. So we have the tar file, and now we can encrypt it with Travis encrypt-file. So now we have the ci.tar.gz and then a .enc, which is encrypted. As you can see from Travis output, it says what we're doing, what it's doing, and where it's storing it. And then it provides us with a build script command line, which you run this and it decrypts it on Travis CI's builds. And I'll just copy this for now as we'll use it a little bit later. Now it's time to set up the two build stages we referenced as bash scripts. We have the prepare cache, and we have the kitchen.sh. So let's make a bin directory, and within that directory, let's make a file called prepare cache.sh. In this file, all we need to do is install Terraform. So as you saw before, we were using the vendor directory within Travis CI to do the caching. So that's where I'll install Terraform. And here I'm going to copy and paste some items I have off screen to make it a little bit easier to install Terraform. So here we're just downloading the Linux Terraform 0.11.7, unzipping it, removing the zip as we don't need it anymore, and then moving Terraform to vendor bin. Next, we'll need to create an integration test script called bin kitchen. So inside the bin directory, let's make another file called kitchen.sh. So here, it will just be another bash script. First thing we need to do to be able to run Kitchen is decrypt those sensitive files that we had Travis encrypt first. Now the tar file will be decrypted. What we need to do now is decrypt or decompress the sensitive files. Let's clean that up. We don't need that file anymore. So now we need to add the binaries to the bin directory with just a export of the path. We have vendor bin directory. So path will equal vendor bin. And I'll hint to what else we're going to need, which if you saw the previous videos, we need a Google Cloud SDK command line client. So we'll end up putting it inside the vendor directory also. And off screen, I have a method of being able to install the gcloud command line client. So I'll copy that over now. So what this is doing is installing or downloading the gcloud SDK and then installing it with the install.sh script Google provides. Next, we need to be able to authenticate using the credentials.json file. And the credentials.json file came from the encrypted ci.tar.gz file that we decompressed and decrypted earlier. So gcloud has a method of doing a gcloud auth activate service count, and then the key file, credentials.json. From there, we also need to set up a couple items within it. So if you're doing this locally, then you will only have to set this once. But with CI, you need to make sure these things can run every time. So I'm setting the project, and that's coming from the credentials.json also. And the last thing to set up is the compute zone, which in our case we'll use US West 1A. So now we have our setup complete for the binaries. We also need to generate a SSH keygen for testing, since it is referencing an Ubuntu PEM file. So we will do a SSH keygen-f Ubuntu, and then no passphrase since this is testing. Let's just make sure there's no sensitive values that come out, and I think it will ask us for a interactive prompt, so I will put yes in there just in case. So now we're ready to run Kitchen. So let's source the .env file that has a couple Terraform variables and that will be used. And then we can run Kitchen test. One thing we also need to do is make sure Kitchen always destroys after any test run. So no matter if the converge was successful or if the converge failed, I still want to destroy the instances so that I don't have them staying around each test. That would cost a lot of money eventually if you're not keeping aware of those things. So I want to find that exit code, and I want to do a couple cleanup items just after. So I don't want to hold credentials.json, that .env file, or the Ubuntu PEM. And then we will exit with the Kitchen exit code instead, so that I can still do a cleanup, but I will still exit whether it's a fail or a success. The cleanup will still happen, so I do not leave my sensitive files around. Now that our build job supporting files are created, it's time to run it in Travis. So I'm starting from an initial commit in our Git repo. So we'll do a feature branch. Now I need to make sure I add all the files I need. So I will add Travis, all the binary or the script files in the bin directory, version, and also add ci.tar.gz.encrypt. As this is encrypted, it's okay to upload to a public repository. Be careful not to take the ci.tar.gz or the credentials.json or the .env file to your repository. It might be best to take the git commit, git ignore file and add those in there also. Okay, now that we've added them all, we're ready to commit. Add Travis CI to repository. Now we'll push to the origin and our feature branch. Now we go over to GitHub and create a PR. So GitHub prompts me that there is a new push branch. So I'll compare and pull request. We can look it over. I have the Travis YAML in there. I also have the kitchen.sh and then the prepare cache.sh. We'll create a pull request. You'll notice a Travis CI webhook automatically comes through, telling us the builds have started. Let's go over to Travis CI webpage and look at the builds. Okay, so here it says it's a PR branch. Shows us who's committed, and then we have our jobs and the stages within them. We have prepare cache, style check, integration test, and tag. So if you click on one of them, you can go over to the job log, and you can see that we've been able to prepare the cache by installing Terraform. Go back over to the build. It looks like style check is currently running. And now we can see Travis CI has finished our style check right here, export path, Terraform format. And it says exit with 0. So we know it's a success. We're now on to the integration test. And you can see that little icon is spinning, meaning this is the one that's currently being worked on. Or you can see over to the right-hand side where the seconds passed for a test have started. So it's installing the Kitchen-Terraform gems needed to run our inspect tests and Terraform. So here it looks like we've already started Kitchen. It's going to destroy anything that's available and then reinitialize the project. So we've created a workspace. We are selecting that workspace. Now we're doing an update, and you can see the source is our own module itself. And now it's doing the Terraform apply. It's creating our Google Compute instance. Okay, creation's complete, 14 seconds. That's very fast, Google. So now, the converge is complete, or the Terraform apply is complete. And now it's going to run our inspect tests. So we have 3 tests, making sure the name of the instance is correct. We have a SSH keys configuration, and the instance is running. So our tests are complete, profile summary 1 and test 3. So now that everything is complete, it's going to do the destroy. The destroy is complete, and our integration test Travis CI job stage, exit with a 0. And scroll back up here and go back to the build. And I believe since we are on a non-master branch, the tag should just skip out and say there's nothing else to do. Yep, skipping deployment, because this is not a branch that is permitted. So our build is complete. We have a green status, and it is all finished. We go back over to our GitHub PR, and you can see we have a success. Now for Travis, a branch build is different than a PR build, and so you get 2 of them at the same time. I haven't been able to fix that, but if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, please let me know. Now that the job is complete, I'll do a merge pull request. Now that we've merged, we're going to go over to the request section of Travis CI and see here's our PR that got merged. I've skipped to the very end of our merged PR into the master branch for the Travis CI run. Let's go see if it tags it. So it's done our before deploy job, added me as the local user, and then did a cat on our version file and did a git tag. And then Travis CI did the rest. It deployed to the repo and it did a tag. So if I go over to the GitHub module, you should be able to see the tag. We have one release. Version 0.10, add Travis CI to the repository. Now that we've completed our CI build, it ran our Terraform code, validated it with inspect controls, and successfully did a git tag. The last item I want to do is publish our repository to the Terraform registry. The registry is a repository of modules written by the Terraform community. It's a great way to find examples, get started using pre-made Terraform modules. The Terraform registry uses GitHub authentication. I'm already logged in. So we can go over to the publish link, find our repository, Terraform Google instance, and you may notice that there's only a subset of repositories that show up. This is because the registry is expecting the repositories to be named a certain way, which is Terraform-provider-name. So in our instance, the provider is Google. Let's publish this. We now have a published Terraform module on the Terraform registry. As you can see, the registry pulls in the README. Also tells you about inputs and outputs and any resources that it creates. So for instance, we just have one. And it also will show you when it was published, by who's it managed by, and the source of it, so you can always go back. So if I were to do a new version, I would change the version file to v01.1 or .2 in case of a feature or patch. And then I would be able to create a new version for people to use. Congratulations! We've successfully created continuous integration for our Terraform module and published the module to the community using Terraform's public registry.